Hi students. So today we are going to see the basic surveying subject code C105. So today's topic is principle of surveying. So subtopic is principle of chain triangulation. So let us see now objective. On completion of this period you would be able to understand, use and apply the principle of chain surveying. So once we recap, in the previous sessions we have seen that equipments used in chain surveying, there are different types of chains. So now let us see what do you mean by known to unknown. That means if we know the anything that is known and if we don't know the anything that is unknown. So here which is the simplest figure that can be plotted from the length of its size? Circle, rectangle, triangle. A. The answer is triangle because it is the simplest figure that can be plotted from the lengths of its sides. So taking one side base and taking another side length, we can join this length by 3-4 method. So this is the easy method by taking the length of its sides. Okay, and another one rectangle is also possible, we can draw, but circle is somewhat impossible. So that's why it is the simplest figure that we can plot it from the length of its sides. So here based on this the area to be surveyed is to be divided into a network of triangles and the required data is collected. So this is called triangulation. So where the area to be surveyed divided into network of triangles. So we have seen in the previous videos also. So this is the area is there. So this is our chainage line is there. So in this we are dividing the half of the points which are as per the diagrams. Okay, so these are the plotting diagrams which we divide. So in this way what we are dividing the lines, so these are all called triangulations. So that means these are all the outer the boundaries, so which we are divided into the number of convenient parts. So this is to require the data is collected. The network of triangles is called triangulation. So principle. What is the principle of chain triangulation? The principle of chain survey is triangulation. So here in this system of surveying, the area to be surveyed is to be divided into a number of well-conditioned triangles. So whatever the area it is there, so while we want to calculate the area, we have to divide it in them into well-conditioned triangles as per depending upon the chained lengths and offsets. So here the sides of various triangles are measured directly in the field. So here in this various triangles which are measured, they will be directly measured in the field and no angular measurements are taken. So here we cannot take any angular measurements, only the length can be measured. It is the simplest kind of surveying for calculation of areas. So it is the simplest kind of surveying. So the triangles are plotted from the measured length of sides. So these triangles are plotted from the measured length of sides which are given in the chain line. So the procedure, so a figure 1 diagram is given. So this is for small areas. The sites are measured in the field. The offsets are taken to locate the details. Here, the plan of the area and the details are plotted in the office from the linear measurements taken in the field. So this is a building is there, which is the building. Inside the building was there. So to take the measurements of this building, a points A and B, C are taken. So taken with the offsets up to this distance. So we will be measuring the lengths. So like this we will be taking the offset length. So we will be calculating the total length of this area. So by using this chain triangulation method. Then for larger areas, the system consists of a framework of triangles. The exact arrangement will depend upon the extent of the area to be surveyed. So for here, for larger areas, the exact arrangement will depend upon the extent of the area to be surveyed. Generally, a long baseline is run through the middle of the area. So let us see here a figure 2 diagram is there. So this baseline is used for locating details by forming a framework of triangles. So then check lines are used to check the accuracy of the framework. The tie lines are used to collect the interior details or data which are not accessible from the baseline. So here generally a long baseline is run through the middle of the area. So it is run through the middle of the area. So this baseline is used for locating the details by forming a framework of triangles. So that means in an area the triangles will be divided. So that is nothing but forming a framework. So check lines are also used for the checking the accuracy of the framework, whether the length and measurements are correct or not. And the lines which are used to collect the interior details or data, so which are not accessible from the baseline, so which they are not accessible from the baseline. So here you can see the check line. This is called check line from figure 2. So this is called main baseline. This is the baseline. These are the check lines. So here you can see the different types of lines are there, the diagram which shows here. So this is our area, and this is the main survey line, the outermost lines which are there, that is A, B, C, D. So the outer lines which are there, those are called main survey lines. And from here, which is A to C, this line A to C is called A to C is called baseline. So this A to C is called baseline, and this is the a administrative building, and here a canteen, and this is the classroom building, and this is the library. So these are all the structures are there, and this is a roadway we can see here. So we can divide the base from main survey line with the help of baseline, the check lines and tie lines. So here the T1 and T2 which are there, this is called tie line. This is called tie line which is in between the A and B, and another one from B, the another point is there, that is S1. It is called check line. From B to S it is called check line. So again from S2 to D, this line is called check line. Again from 3T and T4 is called tie line. So here we can observe the one thing, that is check line, baseline and tie line. So the outer portion is called main survey line. So the outer lines which are there, they are the connecting of the areas of main survey lines, and these check lines are connected to the baselines. Okay, so from the check line and baseline, the tie lines will be connected. So those are in between the main lines. Okay, but this check line is directly from the point, okay, from the station point to the in between the baseline. So the line which is connected between the main line and baseline is called check line. Okay, and here the baseline which is connected between main survey line of all the points is known as baseline, and the tie line is connected between the the tie line is connected between the check line between baseline is called tie line. So these are the lines which are there. So now let us see well conditioned triangles. So according to the principle of chain survey, the area is to be divided into a number of well conditioned triangles. So what do you mean by well conditioned triangle? An equilateral triangle is an ideal triangle. So this is a triangle. So a triangle is said to be well conditioned when no angle in it is less than 30 degrees or more than 120 degrees. So this is said to be well conditioned triangle. That means a triangle is said to be well conditioned when in no angle in it is less than 30 degrees or more than 120 degrees. So in this triangle, when no angle is less than 30 degrees, that means the angle should be minimum 30 degrees all sides. So then it is said to be well conditioned triangle. So here 60 degrees, 70 degrees, 50 degrees. And well conditioned triangles are preferable because their apex points are very sharp. What are apex points? You can see they are located by single dot. There is no possibility of relative displacement of plotted point. Next is ill conditioned triangles. We have seen now well conditioned. Now we will see ill conditioned triangles also. So what are ill conditioned triangles? A triangle is said to be ill conditioned triangle when an angle is less than 30 degrees or more than 120 degrees. So it is called ill conditioned triangle. So we can see the diagram. So this is the 135 degrees length, 25 degrees and 20 degrees. So here it is said to be ill conditioned triangle when angle is less than 30 degrees or more than 120 degrees is called ill conditioned. We can see here the angle is less than 20 degrees it is there, and it is more than 120 degrees is there. So that's why we will say it is ill conditioned triangle. And here ill conditioned triangles are not preferred because their apex points are not sharp and well defined. So what are apex points? These are the apex points. The edges of the corners of the triangle are there. Those are apex points. And there are possibility of error in plotting. In these ill-conditioned triangles, they have possibility of error in plotting. So summary, in this period we have discussed now the principle of chain surveying triangulation. And in the system of surveying, the area to be surveyed is to be divided into a number of well-conditioned triangles. So the triangles are plotted from the measured length of sides, and a triangle is said to be well-conditioned triangle when no angle in it is less than 30 degrees or more than 120 degrees. So this is the regarding of chain triangulation. Then next you see the how to record the field observations in chain surveying. So let us see, we will learn now the procedure of recording field observations, and some of the convention signs are also there. So in the previous we have seen the, let us see, field book. So it is an important book in the surveying. So field book is to take the measurements, whatever we are taking the measurements and dimensions in the field, that should be recorded in the field book. So without field book we cannot record the measurements, and the calculations also should be done in the field book itself. So for civil engineering, so let us see the field book. So here the book in which survey work is recorded by measurements and sketches is called the field book. So this field book an engineer should be carried in the construction sites and in the surveying field compulsory. So here in this book we will have the table format as per the readings should be written. It is an oblong book of size 20 centimeters by 12 centimeters and opening lengthwise. So like this it will be there. So in this the length it will be there. So it will be the 20 centimeters and 12 centimeters opening lengthwise. So there are two forms of field books. One is single line and another one is double line. So this is very important. So a single line field book is used in the surveying for small works, and the double line is used for the large works. So whereas single line field book, let us see here, in the single line field book a single red line is rolled down the middle of each page and represents the survey or chain line. Suppose you can see this is the field book paper. So in this with red line, so like will take red color. So a single red line is load, that is nothing but this is a single red line. So this will be the field book. Okay, so in this we will write the data and remarks. If any diagrams are there we will draw it, and the distances are written along the line while the offsets written opposite them to the right or left according as they are right or left of survey line. So here the distances which are written along the line, okay, this is a red line. In this we have to write the readings while the offsets written opposite them to the right or left according as they are right or left of survey line. So this is convenient for large scale and much detailed dimension work. So this field book is used for the survey work. So in order to, it will be useful for the dimensions and measurements which are taken in the field book. And the next one is double line field book. So here it is similar to single line, but instead of a single line we will have two blue lines about 1.25 centimeters 1.5 centimeters apart are ruled at center. So in this column, changes are entered. So here you can see a single red line and two blue lines will be entered. So that is regarding the field book. You can see. So this is the field book. So here a single red line, two blue lines are entered. So these are the two blue lines which are entered, and another a red line will be there. So that is the single red line. So here serial number, any other we will write, and in this type it will be there. In your remarks also will be there. So we will draw the diagrams or circles, anything inside. So here in this column, changes are also entered 0, 10, 50. So like that the changes are also will be entered. So here the space on either side of the column is utilized for drawing, sketched, writing offsets and notes located from the chain line. So we will here the right side of the column which is having space, there we will draw the diagrams which are taken in the measurement. So whatever the objects or boundaries which are there, the points will be mentioned there. So these field books are compulsory used in the surveying, because whatever the measurements we are taking, we should not write in any notebook or rough book. So if the field book is there, the measurements can be understood very clearly. So this is the so and so measurement we have taken, and the diagram also if we drawn in the field book, it will be usually and easy for understanding. So as per the rules of surveying, the field book compulsory should be carried. And for ordinary works, so for ordinary work, this is used commonly. So next is recording field book. So how to record in field book, that is the pages of the book are blank and machine numbered. So already it is printed with machine numbered. So the recording is started at the bottom of page and work upwards as if we are writing them on the actual chain line. So the recorded should be started at the bottom of page and work upwards as we are writing them on the actual chain. And the name or number of survey line, survey station, and symbol of starting and end of each line is clearly entered. So we have to enter the name. Suppose the site, which is the site location is there, we have to enter the site location name, and number, which is the serial number of survey line or chainage stone number, and survey station, what is the survey station, whether A, B or P, Q, we have to mention the survey station point, and symbol of starting, whether whatever the symbol you are starting, keep the circle or triangle or square, and end of each line is clearly entered. So whatever the end of each line is there, they should be entered very clearly. The numbers or diagrams should be entered very clearly and neatly. So in the field book, we should not do any mistakes, and we should not erase any other uh, mistakes, and we should not do recorrections. So while writing in the field book itself, we have to take the correct measurements and angles, everything. So whatever the measurements we are taking only, that should only be recorded in the field book. So unnecessary corrections should not be made. And this field book should be entered by the particular engineer who is well experienced and taking the measurements correctly, and after that calculation should be done. So this is the our field book process. You can see this is the field book entry. So here you can see a textbook of survey, you can see here. So this is a road, and this is the road, the lines which are there, and these are the buildings which are there located. So this is a line which is located here. So whatever the measurements we are taking, 20.20, 24.20, 30.10, 36.10, 54.3, 55, 60. So like that we are taking the chain stones up to the end point of the 160. Then after we will be taking, so this here it is 5.1 distance, that is nothing but from here the distance is 5, and from here it is 11.5, that is taken with the offsets. So same like this, 14 and 20.40 is the length, and this is 4, and this is 0.70. So these are taken which is from the distance. So these all which are there we should be entered in the field book. So here the initial and closing changes should be enclosed in the symbol delta. So that is initial, we can see initial is, and final this is C, delta is located. The tie or subsidy stations should be indicated by a circle or oval round their chainage. So in tie stations or subsidy stations which are there, we should keep them or indicated by a circle oval round their chainage. So we can see here in the diagram the round diagrams which were kept. So here it is not kept. All the distances along the chain line are entered in the central column and offsets are written opposite them. So here all the distance along the chain line which are there, they are entered in the central column and offsets and are written opposite them. So as work proceeds, the details of offsets are sketched with conventional signs. So here as the work is proceeds, the details of offsets were sketched with the conventional signs. And it is not good to crowd the details. So whatever the details we have taken, we should not be not written very crowd, that means not adjusted in the field book. So the clear details should be entered with the sufficient space. The next, a good field book record is one which can be understood even by a person who has not visited the site. So if example, if a survey person has gone to site and taken the site details and recorded in the field book, but if any person sees that field book, he should be understand what we have done in the site. That means, so this field book is very important for the civil engineering. And next, points considered in booking the new field notes. Okay, so what are the points to be considered? So just we listen here. Each line should be recorded on a separate page. So here the each line should be recorded on a separate page compulsory, because the lines which are there, within the lines only we should enter the readings. The another reading should not cross the lines into another reading, so that the mistakes will be happen, the calculations will become wrong. And all measurements are recorded as soon as they are taken. So why we are saying this point means, suppose if you are taking the 1.265 meters length something, then if we know this is the reading, we have to enter immediately. If not, if we want to enter later, so we will not remember this point, and again if we will write that is 1.256 meters. So here this will be the happen. So when you taken the measurement is correct thing is 1.265, but you are writing later a minute or a hour or any half an hour or within the late time, you will not get this reading correctly, so that we will be writing wrong, so that the measurements which are recorded, they will become wrong and the calculations will be getting wrong, and again we have to do resurvey. So the recorder should always face the direction of chaining while booking the field notes. So here the recorder who is there, he should be always face the direction of chaining. So in what way the chaining direction is, then he have to, while booking the field notes, he should follow the directions also. The measurements which are there on the chainage line, it should be taken and which should be entered in the field book immediately. So one should be record these readings in the field book immediately with a pen or any pencil. And the notes should be complete. Nothing should be left to memory. So whatever the readings we are taking field, in the field book we have to enter the readings and no blank should be left in the field book. And they should be clear, neat and accurate. So this is the main point. So when we are writing the field book, the reading should be recorded very neatly in the field book. There should not be do any cuttings or any redrawing or any rewriting, so that the calculations will be disturbed and no one can understand what are the actual readings are. So this field book should not tear the papers also. In the field book every paper is important. So whatever the readings you are taking, that should be taken compulsory very accurately. So that's why they should be very clear, neat and accurate. Next, figuring should be neat and writing legible. There should be no overwriting of the figures. So the figures of numbers, digits which are there, we have to write very clearly. If 2 is there, you have to write 2 perfectly. We should not write like Z or any 2 or like this. Okay. So if 350 is there, so we have to write the number correctly for understanding everyone. And any other points also should be written very clean and tidy. We should not do or redraw, or the diagram should not be erased. No cutting should be done. And no overwriting is allowed in the field book. So that leads to the fieldwork calculations are wrong. And explanatory notes and references to other pages when necessary should be added. So here in the field book we have to write the explanatory notes and references of other pages. If necessary, any things are missing, they should be added. Within the, if field book is full or anything to draw, if the place is not there, we have to draw or write in the explanatory notes, that is another record book. So then the reference pages also should be written where it should be added, and entries should be recorded in pencil. So we have to use the pencil for the field book so that we can erase and we can rewrite. So if you write with the pen, so the mistake was happened, then you cannot do recorrection. So that's why you prefer the pencil for recording in the field books. And the next, the book should be kept clean, no entries should be erased. So whoever having the field book, they should be kept very clean and neat. The field book should not be teared or erased anything in that. The measurements and calculations which are taken in the field book, they should be calculated and checked correctly. So that's why there should not be no entries should be erased in the field book. If any entry is wrong, a line should be drawn through it and a correct one is written above it. So here, suppose this is the field book. So in the field book we have written 2.1. So it is wrong. So that what we have to do, we have to enter a line like this, one or two lines. After that we have to round it and we have to write it is 1.2 on top of it. So in this way we have to recorrect the value. So if an entire page is to be discarded, it should be crossed and marked as cancelled. So this is the entire page is there. So if mistake is happened, so we have to discard it as it is written like this. We have to do the cross symbol so that this page is cancelled, but not should be teared because the field book numbers are very important. The serial number should not be missed. And here a reference to the other page on which the correct notes are written should be made on. So whatever the reference we are writing on the other page, the correct notes should be written and made on. The sketches of the various features located should be neat and lucid. So this is regarding the sketches. So these sketches of various features located should be neat and lucid. Okay. The sketches need not to be scaled. So in the side we are taking the actual measurements so that we will be right in the field book, but the diagram should be, there is no need to draw the scale. We can draw rough diagrams. Separate page should be run for each tie line if any. So suppose if any other data is there, so we have to keep in the separate page to run for each tie line. Then the complete record of the survey should include title of the survey. So if you are doing the canal measure levels, you have to write taking the canal measurements and depth of levels. That is the title of the survey. And general sketch of the area surveyed. So if you are doing the canal survey, you have to draw the canal diagram. If you are doing the any building, so you have to draw rough diagram of building level. And if any taking the foundations, draw the foundation diagram. So next, location sketch of the main and tie stations. So how many main and tie stations are there? We have to locate it and we have to draw it. And record of the chain lines. So how many chain lines are there? We have to record it. And the date of the survey, on which day the survey was done. And next, the names of the members of the party. So how many members are there in the party? How many members are taking in the field book record? The names also should be written, and what are the work it is allotted, that should be written. And the page index of the chain line and stations. The page index number should be compulsory. So next is convention signs. The following convention symbols are used to represent the object. So this is north line, we can see whether the north symbol, and main stations are triangular stations, traverse stations symbol or substations. So this is a river symbol and this is a chain line symbol. And this is the canal symbol, lake or pond, open well, railway line, road, bridge or culvert, railway bridge and culvert, level crossing, wall with gate, boundary line, hedge, hedge line, wire fencing, pipe fencing, wood fencing, building. It is a pukka, building pukka house. This is building kacha house, huts, temples, church, mosque. These are all the conventional symbols, and this is a benchmark symbol, tree, jungle, orchard, cultivated land. Cutting, telegraph line, telegraph post, electric line, electric post, burial ground, cemetery. So barren land, rough plaster, marshes swamp, embankment. So finally, summary, in this period you have learned that booking the field data, conventional science. So this is regarding the field book. So I hope everyone understood. Thank you. Have a nice day.